This is our first three-way.
Wrong. You're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song with John and Phil. Tonight's special guest is Shawn Cassity.
I knew somebody had to make the three-way joke.
It was inevitable.
I've been rehearsing that all day.
Shawn is calling us from the International Space Station.
Space Force. Captain Shawn.
Space Force in color.
This is Shawn,
welcome back.
We have Shawn Cassity, the Shawn Cassity. What was your hit in the 70s?
Film star.
I'm 10 years younger and in Minnesota, so.
And he doesn't do the do run run.
I don't.
That was a song, and he spells his name differently. It's not that Shawn Cassity, but we are glad you're here from the space station. You're with us. John and I have talked about you a little bit, but sort of in like
You've been talking about me
behind your back,
no!
in front of your back. But we haven't. It's all the kind of inside jokes, really, in some ways. But who are you?
Who are any of us, really? And
give some sort of little
epidemiological.
I don't know, some little bio thing.
Well, I know you through John, and I know John because I'm related to him.
How are you related to him, though? You're like a second cousin?
We're related, I believe, first cousin once removed.
Oh.
Because my mother is John's first cousin.
Correct.
It's a generational shift kind of a thing.
You were removed one other time, too, but we don't talk about that. No, so, okay. And you grew up near Crick? No, I'm sorry. You grew up in Wyoming.
I grew up in Wyoming, which has a lot of cricks and creeks. Take your pick. Or a peak. I'm not even drinking, and I'm silly.
Well, John and I are drinking. You're not drinking?
I'm not.
We'll make up for it. Don't worry.
I've been too busy setting up. I probably could sneak in there and get a drink.
We will take a break, I promise you, where you can get a beverage.
We have a 2.5-year-old in the house that Connie's actually looking after, so I would need to be sneaky about grabbing an adult beverage.
Don't accidentally grab one of the kids' drinks, because you'll never be the same.
In the meantime, just because I needed to get something, I have an Izzy sparkling apple.
Well, there, you are drinking something.
So I am drinking something. Okay. It's just not an adult
beverage.
That's
all right.
So you grew up in Torrington, Wyoming, and
or as my dad would call it, Torridton.
Torridton?
He did call it
that. From the man who brought us Jackal Mikeson.
Sorry, Shawn, I interrupted. Keep going, please.
No, I just was going to say that he had a fondness for turkeys.
Well, turkeys had a fondness for chasing me home from school when I was 7 years old. So.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
I'm not a... So I'm okay now, but for a while I was terrified of turkeys.
That's not funny. I'm sorry, but you like to eat them now because of
it's funny now.
It's a vengeance
I didn't think it was funny when I was 7, but
your favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's up there. Partly because of that, partly because it was a nice family occasion when I got to see family type people, including John. When I was growing up, and Rob and all the other Knowleses.
You showed up on our tapes. We've talked about that a little bit.
I showed up, and I remember being auditioned by you guys, and you guys were like,
"Did we really audition you?"
Sort of.
Well, because none of us had to audition.
Came over,
no, Lee had me audition too a little bit.
What kind of voices can you do? And I was like, well, the Iridium Q36, and did that, and hi, this is Big Bird, and stuff like that. And you guys were like, okay, you're in. So it's a really easy audition.
Shawn, you forgot your piece de resistance, the computer. That just trumps everything. Sorry.
That's Lee's girlfriend's favorite.
Really?
Well, so I'm glad somebody likes it.
Yeah.
Well, if she's listening, I'm sure she'll be impressed. Or
he still got it.
Don't feel bad because Shawn. Don't feel bad because I kind of was auditioned too because they had done a tape before I showed up, and I sat with John and Lee, and I sat with John and Lee and did some voices too. So It wasn't just you. I don't think John auditioned, though. I don't know if he would have made it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I would not have made it. But I had the tape recorder.
John.
No, you've had good voices too. But
yeah, some great voices that are great because nobody else could possibly do them.
There's a reason for that.
Some of us had overlap with the voices. I mean, Lee could kind of do a demonic guy. I could do kind of a fairy guy.
Over time, we've listened to each other's versions of it and done our own versions. So,
Oh, sure.
I had the hilarious thought we could remake one of our tapes, or at least one of the one of the segments, and only with each of us doing the other's
that
voices.
That would be really funny. We'd have to use different music because it's all copyrighted.
We would, and we could. It would actually technically be a lot superior because we could do it, like this.
Except
only with a better mic.
You wouldn't be from a space station. So for a while you'd show up to Rapid every now and then because that wasn't so far from Torrington.
We used to drive up because I have a lot of family up there on both sides of my family. So we used to visit in Rapid usually at least twice a year, it seems like, when I was growing up. Usually around the holidays and sometime in the summer, very often.
And then at some point you moved to Rapid City, and that's when you were...
I moved to Rapid after my parents separated. I decided to go with my mom because she decided to go back to her hometown, which was Rapid, and she's still there. And I just decided, well, I can do freshman college, stuff at the School of Mines. So I did.
It was a meeting of the minds.
It was. And then that's how I got to be on you guys' tapes, because I was around. And we lived, and hilariously, we were all in the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
pretty much.
He lived next to the drive-through dentist.
Yeah, right by the drive-through
which got mentioned a few episodes ago, strangely enough.
Did it?
We didn't talk... Well, we didn't talk about why we called it that, but it looked like it had a drive-through, so we drive through it. I like a rocket out.
Yeah, that was.
And you lived kind of across the street from another place we talked about, which was a gas station that had old video games sometimes in the old days. But I think that was before you.
Yeah, different time periods. I think though
Yeah.
Well,
unless Shawn has a hard is. Oh wait, no Doctor Who talk.
Oh no.
Oh, believe me.
Sorry, Shawn.
You could do. Shawn could do a Doctor Who podcast. But you're more into Dark Shadows
There's
now.
so many Doctor Who podcasts already, though. If I were going to do a podcast, it would be about something. It would have to be. It would have to be a different twist on Doctor Who somehow.
Just as
there's
companions.
So many already. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that was already being done.
All right. Companion talk with Shawn.
Would you be my companion?
Relationship advice with the doctor. So those Daleks.
Yeah, how about them Daleks? So,
how about
and that's how we all got to doing our recordings many years ago. Speaking of those recordings, I have one piece of listener feedback from Matt P. Says, listen to all of your episodes. It was good. A lot better than those tapes my sister sent you when I was sent me when I was in high school.
No, I don't know if I'd agree with that.
I don't know either.
I think he was saying that in some ways we've improved, but those were like actual like skits and stuff. This is just rambling.
This is just us hanging out on the internet, basically.
Well, I mean, this takes, despite the work getting these going, it's a small fraction of the time we spent on those things. It was our whole lives for a while.
We actually would write scripts.
Yeah, we had scripts. We had scripts. We did many takes in some cases, and lots of overdubbing and weird recording stuff, and they were just it was something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, thanks for the feedback. I'm glad that you're still listening. Anybody else who is, and again, we're happy to welcome Shawn, because he's been mentioned many times because he's an important creative influence in Phil and my lives, ours.
Aw.
And sometimes we just find ourselves as a pause, and we'll just go.
So, Phil, since we have a little bit of a formula here that we follow, what are you drinking tonight?
I had a time to lime, and now I'm having a scotch and soda.
Excellent.
See, I think you're going to have to stop asking me at some point because I'm so boring with my drinks lately.
Okay, I'm really trying to.
You're mixing it up.
I'm trying to mix it up, although I'm gonna come back around again. So tonight I'm drinking the last bottle of this Star Trek themed beer that I bought ages ago and kept the last bottle around and I thought tonight...
Was that the Romulan ale?
It's called Vulcan Ale.
Vulcan
So
Ale.
I'm looking at the front of the bottle. It says Vulcan Ale, the Genesis Effect. And it has a big picture of Spock on it.
Of course.
With a beard hat.
And it's considered a red session IPA.
Okay.
I don't know what that really means.
Session drinking is a chiefly British and Irish term that refers to drinking a large quantity of beer during a session without becoming too heavily intoxicated, unlike the recording of this podcast.
But it's very hoppy. It's actually, I don't really like it that much.
It's gonna
but
be.
I'm going to drink it, damn it, because it was on sale and it hit Star Trek.
I think that's like three different kinds of, because you can have red beer and session saison. I don't know session beer. We're doing a session, and then the IPA
session
would be the hops. So there's too much going on in that. I think
it's very bitter.
It's illogical.
IPAs
bitter dregs.
Yeah.
And next to it, I have some blended Scotch on ice to take the edge off, which is less bitter.
A chaser.
It's a chaser, exactly.
There you go.
So that's what I'm having. I'll probably switch to something else at the next break, but that's what I got. The last
cool.
I saw this one time at one of my liquor stores here, and like a clearance thing.
I would have gotten it too, probably.
I got
if
it,
I'd seen it.
And I've never seen it again. So. And Shawn, you're having a non-alcoholic beverage tonight.
At the moment, I am. I might switch to something alcoholic.
If you had
out.
picked something, what would you pick?
Tonight's episode is brought to you by Dr. Pecker, the quicker pecker upper. Pick up a pack of pickled peckers tonight.
I like rum and Coke a lot, but I don't have any Coke right now, I don't think. I think
so just rum and rum.
I had one Coke that I was saving, but I think somebody drank it, so...
Okay.
So rum and Coke with a little lime juice, or just
Cuba Libre?
rum and Coke?
I haven't tried it with lime juice, but that does sound good. I probably would try that. Next time I make one, I'll probably do that. But I got to get some Coke first.
That would be a Cuba Libre.
Yeah, the lime makes it a Cuba Libre.
Okay.
But you don't have to do it that way. And you can mix it up and put a little cigar butt in there and call it a Castro.
Ooh.
That sounds terrible.
A Castro butt. Oh, speaking of Star Trek. Now, our listeners probably won't listen to this for months, but Harlan Ellison just passed away. I heard.
My God,
did he? Well, he was kind of getting up there, wasn't he?
Well, so were you.
84. That's what she said. So speaking of Star Trek, sort of. I mean,
I strangely associate him with Doctor Who as well, but...
Well, he did a lot of different things that I didn't even know for writing for
He wrote a lot in his long life, yeah.
I think he was my aunt Dina's favorite author.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
I haven't actually read anything by him except this hilarious intro that he wrote that got used in the U.S. publishings of a bunch of the Doctor Who novels in 1979, in which he passionately asserted that Doctor Who was the greatest TV show of all time, better than Star Trek and better than Star Wars, which apparently he loudly trumpeted from on stage at a Worldcon in the late 70s. And people thought he was insane because nobody at that point had seen Doctor Who yet, because it hadn't really been shown in the U.S. until after the late 70s.
I don't, not because of that, but I do think he was a little crazy. But that's okay.
You know, I saw him a few times because he used to do segments on the old Sci-Fi Channel. And
oh yeah, didn't we watch some of those when we were all living together?
Yeah,
I
think
we all
did.
lived together for a while.
We've conveniently covered that part of our past.
Well,
we were all
there's so much of our past, it's hard to cover all the bits. But yeah.
Well, John and I have been touching on subjects based on our past. We call it kissing the past ass.
Kissing the
sort
past
of based,
ass.
Yeah.
Loud Wainwright reference.
It's hard not to kiss the past's ass, really, because that's in some ways all she ever does. But
well, we need to put that in some context.
There is a context.
No,
she
said involving
that's
your
her
mom
thing.
is going to inevitably have that.
She's a genealogical researcher. I don't know the title.
That's insofar that she's had an adult job. That's pretty much been it for the most part. And she has sometimes made a little bit of money off of it, but not really, of course, because it's not really a job. But
she's a gravestone kisser more than an ass kisser. Past kisser. Okay.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, we've alluded to this
of kissing
a couple
gravestones.
Times. No, the Barneses.
Oh, Barneses. I used to love. I used to call Shawn just to hear.
to be clear,
for a while,
we're talking about.
Yes.
Well, for a while, Shawn lived in their basement. That was your grandpa and grandma, right?
Yeah.
And I just used to.
An uncle.
They were kind of like grandparents to me too, though.
Kinda.
I used to love calling over there because your grandpa would answer the phone and
phone voice.
Barneses. I can't quite do it today.
That's a very good imitation of him, actually.
Barneses. Is Shawn there? Who's this? This is Phil. I
don't know. Let me yell downstairs.
Hi, Phil.
And he had a hell of a voice.
That was pretty much it. He did. He had a great voice. And
we should have had him on a team.
He was a bass. I always wished that I could have a nice bass voice like him, but it didn't pan out that way.
But over the years, your voice has gotten a little lower, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten.
That was not an example of it.
That's what you call irony.
Everything gets lower when you get older. I found that out when I would go to the Y, and some of those old guys, they'd have their testicles flapping on the floor.
Cut this part out, please.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
They put him in a little wagon.
Yeah, you could probably write a small novel about all the Barnes stuff that.
Their big garden. Oh, that huge garden.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was.
Yeah, they had a giant garden and all the old radio equipment that he scavenged from the FCC where he used to work and.
His glasses.
All those giant visors with the huge Coke bottle.
The visor
lenses.
with the yeah. There's some photos where he's wearing those. I saw one just the other day that
I almost need
my mom or somebody posted.
You almost need those now, John?
Mm-hmm. I almost do too sometimes.
If you're going to have to wear something like that, get those visors. Those were cool.
The visor is like Jordy.
Full disclosure: never trust Phil for information on what is cool.
And then your hair kind of flops up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'd sit in his chair and watch Jeopardy and.
Yeah, and all the crazy
and do crossword puzzles.
Depression era sensibilities about food and that canned everything.
Making your own stuff. Yeah,
they made their own stuff. They always had a huge basement full of preserved food and frozen stuff. And
back before bunkers were like hip.
Mostly pickles and some other.
I don't think they were paranoid.
The dill pickles were great.
No,
I don't think so.
But they definitely.
Although I do think
like to be thrifty.
Sure.
I think so. I think that was
if you go through something like the Depression, which we might pretty soon here, it really does change you.
Depression to electric boogaloo.
They were completely almost stereotypical examples of Depression era people. All the stuff you hear, they lived it, and they never quite let go of it. And like, for example, did Don Barnes ever buy a new car? I don't think so.
I think, from what my mom tells me, pretty much no.
Yeah. He
had one of those. He had one of those trucks that you could put like mattresses and chairs and stuff in the back and drive to California.
Yeah, Okie truck. From the Grapes of Wrath. He had one of the.
No,
almost that.
It was nothing like. It was not. It was.
The thing about the Grapes of Wrath is that's actually more like my other side of the family, my dad's side, because my dad's just about, because they actually went to California for a while in the 30s.
Sure.
And
oh wow, my dad was the youngest in that family, and he was born after the war. But his older brother and older sister were born in the late 30s. And one or the other, or both of them, were actually born in California because they had abandoned, and I got the impression that they weren't the only ones. There were people from, it wasn't just Oklahoma people who were Okies. It was that whole region.
We're all Okies now.
The Dust Bowl.
There was the Okies. There was the Okies and the Nokies and the Kokies and the
Jokies.
Yeah, the whole region. They all tried going to California.
Did you just say?
At some point.
Wait, did you just say Asians?
No, you've got this.
No,
you did that on an earlier episode where you talked about Bajans, like beige Asians, and you've got this thing about Asians.
What?
No, I thought that's what he said.
No, you've got China girl stuck in your head or something.
I did like that video a lot.
China girl.
That was a good video. I'm a mess.
Yeah, I know. This happens a lot, Sean, on the podcast that we just kind of drift off into something else. And so speaking of,
then it gets
I've heard
edited.
just enough to know this is the case.
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to force us to change the topic because this is getting too serious. So we had one comment on Facebook, and thanks for everybody who's liked our page. Time to Lean, and here's a song. We're right there
on Facebook. On Facebook.
I hate Facebook,
and we have a Twitter handle.
Do?
We have a Twitter handle too.
Tell us that, Phil?
It's time to lean. Time to the number 2 lean. LEAN.
Okay.
And boy, it's going to be fun. Follow us. I need another beverage before I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
This is a big topic, so you better get stocked up.
I don't know.
I'm gonna choke down the rest of this fucking beer.
Oh, John's not a beer guy.
I'm
He's
taking
not an
one for the
IPA
team
guy,
here. Oh my god.
I don't. That was a different episode too. I'm not into the IPAs either. Okay, I'll be back. Why don't you get a drink, Sean? No, you don't have to.
Okay.
You can though if you have something.
I will at some point. It sounds quiet out there. I might be able to
sneak in there. Yeah.
Sound something up.
Okay.
Is there anybody out there? Oh, sick bays. Work. Yeah.
As long as, then we're good.
Okay.
Okay, good night.
Click.
Yeah, don't say fuck. Don't say fuck.
Oh!
And then my levels blew up.
Now, then again, she would have to actually subscribe and play it back. And
Yeah.
We'll get some comments.
we might. Yeah, I know. We're riding with the devil.
So let's
here.
say fuck every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to clear something up. So, what is a pizza burger?
No, I think as near as I can tell,
An authority is with me in the room right now. We're discussing this a little while ago.
Wait a minute.
I don't think I got it right.
This is our first 4-way.
Okay, what's is it?
Or maybe
just
3.5.
Is it breaded and fried patty of meat? 2 patties with cheese in the middle.
Okay.
Breaded with Italian seasoning.
Okay.
And ketchup.
Yeah. So it's a breaded burger patty with mozzarella cheese on it, but not like marinara and stuff.
Okay.
That wasn't the A&W
Phil was
version.
talking about having a pizza burger at A&W when he was young.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a little different. This is
That was
Gregory,
probably
South
quite
Dakota.
different.
Sorry,
believe it.
I
fine.
thought we needed to clear that up because somebody's going to ask us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait,
There are different
what's the
kinds
big
of
deal
it.
about a pizza?
Oh, I'm
burger?
sure there are
It's
many
just a
different
hamburger
kinds.
with red sauce dumped on it and mozzarella cheese. This is not the same. You know what else is really good is
Good to know.
hot bean dip out of a can.
From Gregory, South Dakota.
No, we get it right here in River City.
Hot bean dip?
Have you guys ever had hot bean dip, like out of a can, in the chip aisle?
Oh, yeah. Yes, but we always had it with like Fritos.
But yeah.
People are going to think
I don't
people are going to think
oddly
that
enough,
we're stoners.
It's good with.
What do you eat it with?
Regular tortilla chips are good.
No, it has to be Fritos. I'm sorry.
The hometown grocery store in Gregory, South Dakota always has it on sale, so we always get it there.
I don't know if I ever had the hot kind, but there's a Fritos bean
Yeah.
Fritos bean chip dip that we always have with Fritos for a special treat.
That's what it is, and it's the best. Try the hot kind. It's not actually very hot.
That's
it
not
has to-
surprising.
It's not fucking hot.
It's not motherfucking hot.
But what is?
Motherfucking beans.
Well, that'll take care
so
of Ellen right there.
With motherfucking ghost chilies.
my levels.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Time for a Time to Lean flashback.
Here's the song!
Born in Yankton, lived in Springfield, Ames, and Dubuque, Casper and Lingo, a thinner, white dude. Nothing much in Torrington. Did you yearn to break loose? Drinking Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster you made with pickle juice. A stuffed mouse named Jimmy, you made him a cave. Staring out at the prairie, did you plot your escape? Kitty, Fluffy, Sticker, Lucky, the twins, Rod and Todd, all the while perfecting your heroin sheepod. Candy, Peach, Brownie, Eddie, the horses bucking in the field. Even from Spot, Tanner, Jake, and Barney was something yet concealed. Winds blowing through the tumbleweeds while you blew trombones and flugelhorns. What thoughts wound through your synapses while watching Wiley on Saturday morns? Even in the wastelands of Wyoming, there's Python, Who, and Pogo. But did you ever stop to think all the places you would go? Goodbye, Wyoming, with its broncs and cricks, and its ranches filled with dudes, and its coal and Jackson Hole. Goodbye, Rapid City, star of the West. My goodness, how you've changed. Now your closet's rearranged. Chicken king. The pretty young Cobra couch with its flattened mouse.
I'd like to buy a toupee.
Hello, I'm Bob Lord, and welcome to my show. Hello, I'm Harlan Ellison.
Hey, what's that in the lunch pail? Hey, let's have it for lunch.